And the next episode has arrived. So, I am a very religious person, and a lot of people have the misconception that just because your beliefs are religious, that maybe they don't matter as much, or that beliefs can't be both religious and true. And I disagree. I say that beliefs can be both true and religious. Just like mathematics is true, but mathematics itself is not based on science. And I can't think of anyone that would deny the truth in mathematics. So my point is, you can't prove everything using just science. There's other things such as mathematics and just basic logic that do not require science. But that bothers some people. Some people will only accept science as an absolute basis for everything. But science is based on logical processes, but science itself cannot account for absolute accuracy of eyewitnesses. And most religions claim to be started by an eyewitness to maybe a supernatural event. And then the question is, what is the validity of this eyewitness? Or how does this work? I mean, why should I trust what maybe Moses says? Why should I trust people that Moses existed? And that's when you run into the differences between the religions, and that is the problem between religions getting together and trying to say that, oh, we can all coexist. And because there's going to be some people that are going to just straight up say that people from one religion are lying about the true goals of their religion, or perhaps that they're saying things that aren't true, which does occur. I do have to say, it does occur. But because a lot of religions, if not all, are mutually exclusive to each other. For example, Christianity, or at least most of it, goes on a Trinitarian viewpoint of God, while on the other hand, Islam does not. And in fact, lot of people in Islam see Trinitarianism as a form of polytheism, although Christians themselves do not. So this leads to a problem that is not really reconcilable in the normal manner that one might like it to be. And problems create more problems. So also you end up with certain religions that advocate human sacrifice, while other religions are opposed to it. And this can also drive people apart. Now, that is not to say that people shouldn't be driven apart by differences in their religions, because they should, in a sense, because somebody is wrong and somebody is right. Question is, who is right and who is wrong? And how do you find out who is right and who is wrong? That's also an important question. But not everybody is always willing to ask such questions. Because a lot of people find questions divisive, but these are questions that people have to answer eventually, because otherwise you end up with the problem of, is there a reason for life? And if there is, what is it? And what are the consequences for not getting things right? Because is there an absolute morality? Can be another question. And how do you answer that question? It's a yes or no answer. Some people say yes, there is an absolute right and wrong. Other people say no, there is not. And I'm one of the people that says yes. And that's because I have personal religious experience, and some people might find that disturbing or unbelievable, but so what? I have personal religious experience, and I have to say that there is a reason for life to exist. Of course, you then run into a side of people that talk about the Big Bang, and the problem is that the events of the Big Bang itself, in that aspect, it is almost entirely theoretical, and in fact untestable as well. So if it's really unobservable and untestable, then it's unscientific. But then the problem here arises that people then will try to say that it is scientific because they don't like having their theory called unscientific, even though the term itself does not in itself imply that it is untrue. As I said earlier, things that are not scientific can also be true. But some people don't accept that. Some people, the people that don't, I believe, have within themselves the presupposition that that which is unscientific is also untrue. And that's when you get into problems, because then you realize that if these people react in such a degree to having their theory called unscientific, that they automatically believe that it is also implied to be untrue, then what does that describe about their view on people's religious views? Does that imply that although many of them say that people are entitled to religious views, that they really believe that since their religious views are unscientific, they are also untrue? But the fact remains that things that are unobserved and unproven and unexperimented, those things are not part of science. Yet a lot of people claim that a hypothesis that seems to have to be solid, even though it is untested, should be science. That can be problematic because a lot of people can make hypotheses which cannot be tested, such as, let's say I were to say that a watermelon is blue on the inside until its skin is penetrated, and that is something that is very difficult to test, and therefore it is unscientific because you can't test it. And this can lead to certain problems to arise with people that just simply don't accept that. Some people just will say that things don't have to be tested to be declared, or testable to be declared scientific, that they can be proven alone or tested alone using mathematics alone. But a good experiment really beats a bunch of theory any day. I mean, you can theorize and theorize and hypothesize, but unless you test it, then you're not really following all steps of the scientific process. And so things that are unobservable and untestable are not scientific, therefore they can be considered religious. But to the people that are offended by this, they themselves find the entire notion that their beliefs might be religious to be insulting and horrid on many levels. And those people seem to always imply that religiosity in a belief also implies a belief's untruth, although it really doesn't. Unless you're using the word religious as a code word for untrue. In which case, then, that's being pretty deceptive. I gotta be honest, don't do that. It's not nice to people to mock people's beliefs behind their back. If you're going to mock people's beliefs, please do it openly. And let people know that you dislike their beliefs or that you disagree with them. But on the other hand, what can you do about it? What is there to do? What can a man do about that? And that's a question. Is it a big question? Not necessarily. But if people are going to secretly mock your beliefs, then, well, that's their problem. You can mock them all they want. You can mock all the beliefs they want, all the time if they want, but it still doesn't change the fact that everything, all knowledge, is a belief of some sort. Because every time you use knowledge, you have to also place trust in the source of the knowledge. For example, if you see something and you affirm that you saw it, that must mean that you believe your eyes. And in most cases, that's a valid belief. And oftentimes, it can even be counted as scientific observation. So, just because you have a belief doesn't mean that it's unscientific. Or just because something you know is scientific doesn't mean it's not a belief. And, well, that's enough for now. See you all next time.